What is up, YouTube? Alex coming back at you with another Starcraft 2 replay. On the bottom right-hand side of the map, we have our blue Protoss player PigHunter. On the top left-hand side of the map, we have our red Protoss player Pumba. Looks like we already have some conversation here. Who's this? We're blue, dabba-dee, cause we're Smurfs, dabba-dee. Oh, man. Okay. That's true. May the best Smurf win. Worst human. Okay, so these are allegedly gold players. Clearly that is not the case, so I am curious to see what these players have in store for us today. Let's take a look at the APM here. Okay, 90 average for blue, 65 for red. That's not crazy high. That's also not crazy bad. I'll be honest, I don't know the average APM for gold players, but clearly they're not gold players, so let's see what we have today. Looks like a gateway first in the natural for red. That is interesting. This almost looks like a gateway expand here, which I would suggest against a PvZ matchup. As a Protoss player, I would suggest you do this against Zerg. I don't really see this too often in PvP matchups. Let's check this out here. And we do, in fact, have the Nexus thrown down after that gateway right in front of PigHunter's face. So PigHunter does know that there's no cheese coming from Pumba's side here. Now, the unfortunate reality with PvP matchups is the greedy player tends to put themselves at a disadvantage here. I've seen a lot of players lose by doing a greedy play. Going Nexus first will put you way behind in army supply potentially, and also opens the door for the opposing player to throw down some punishment for being greedy. And we do have a forward pylon here. I'm curious to see what's going to be thrown down next to this, but this is what I'm talking about. PigHunter did see that it was an early Nexus, and looks like he's planning on punishing this rather than trying to match Pumba's economy here by throwing down a Nexus of his own. And in fact, it is a proxy robo, so this will be interesting. We do see that Pumba notices that there's no Nexus for PigHunter's side here. So this will give him some time to prepare for potential all-in, which is what I would be afraid of if my early Nexus was scouted by my Protoss opponent. On the production tab, we do see Stalkers coming in. Relatively even supply for now. It does not look like Pumba is really preparing for this. We do have a robotics facility here. Not using this to build an immortal, though. Building an observer first, which I'm not sure I agree with. He wants to be able to match PigHunter's army as closely as possible to defend this greedy play here. Immortal coming in, or PigHunter at this proxy robo. I do expect that there's going to be a few more Stalkers warped in at the same time. 3 Stalkers. Okay, we do have the shield battery for Pumba. This will help him out a lot here. He only has 3 Stalkers on this ramp, though, and we have an Immortal and 6 Stalkers coming in. We do have warp gates, 2 more Stalkers. Immortal only halfway finished. The Stalker's running up the ramp way ahead of the Immortal, though. That's not great. Oh no, this Immortal dancing around. This engagement is not going PigHunter's way. Did manage to focus fire down that shield battery and force a worker pull from Pumba, though. Destroyed a decent amount of workers there, but lost a good amount of Stalkers and almost had this Immortal focus down. Now we have way more Stalkers here for Pumba, plus an Immortal. Warp Prism flying up in an attempt to get around the defense on the ramp at the natural. Let's see what he can accomplish here. Warping in a few more stalkers to reinforce this. Focusing down the pylons, which I do like. Oh, getting the surround here. Focusing down that warp prism and destroying the immortal. PigHunter did manage to depower 2 gateways, but at the cost of his entire army, and this puts Pumba in a very strong position here. That engagement was huge. He's over 30 supply ahead of PigHunter right now, happily mining at his natural, where we just now have Nexus being thrown down at the natural for PigHunter here. Losing that War Prism was huge. Not even bothering to build more Immortals here, just leaving this Proxy Robo alone for now. Running down his Immortal to the natural here. At this point, PigHunter has a lot to catch up on in terms of economy. Only 2 gateways. Building a Stargate, which I am not mad about. In his shoes, I may try to build oracles, which is exactly what he's doing here, just to clean up some of these mineral lines and even out the game right now, because the economy for Pumba is so much higher than PigHunter's. Mining off 2 fully saturated bases, almost fully saturated bases, while your Nexus isn't even finished yet in your natural. That's a hard spot to be in. That's not to say the game is over. If we have good harassment here by PigHunter, it's possible that he will be able to slow down Pumba, but it looks like Pumba knows exactly what he should be doing. Pumba did see that there was a very late Nexus on PigHunter's side, so doing a counterattack after destroying that Warp Prism may be the right move, but it looks like he was just scouting out to destroy that Proxy Robo instead of going to do a push himself. And we do have this Oracle here, this Hero Oracle, to destroy some probes and potentially even out this game. Looks like we do have an observer here for Pumba. He does see that there's a Stargate. The Oracle killing these Orcers. A bit of a slow response by Pumba. 7 kills on that Oracle. Let's take a look at units here. We're getting close to even worker count here. Producing Colossus, I feel like you don't see those units too often anymore. This will be interesting, especially going against a Stargate play here by PigHunter. We'll potentially be able to focus down these Colossi. Speed being researched for PigHunter. Zealot Speed. Thermal Lance for Pumba. The Colossi will do well against Zealots. Unfortunately, they will be able to get focused down by these Void Rays. Supply still quite a bit ahead for red here. Looks like Pumba likely understands this and is going to move out. He does have an observer here, getting vision on this army, and sees that he has a much stronger army supply than his opponent. We do have the shield battery, though. Protoss very good at turtling with that shield battery and battery overcharge. He will be able to hold this ramp for a little while at the very least. PigHunter also throwing down a stasis ward. This will cut the army in half. Oh, not quite. That was a good reaction. Good reaction time by Pumba. Only got one of those stalkers caught in the stasis ward. Bit of a misclick here by that Oracle. Oracle immediately focused down. Looks like Pumba throwing force fields down on the ramp of his opponent here, cutting this army in half. Very strong engagement once again by Pumba. Overcharge was used. It is on cooldown now. We do have a decent amount of energy on that shield battery. Oh, I like this. some hallucinated archons right at the front of the army here. I wonder if these will absorb some shots. Doesn't look like they're absorbing as much as you would hope, but this may be it, folks. Pulling the probes. They're getting blocked by these hallucinated archons. Now they're doing some work. Loses everything in this natural here. The Colossi doing a lot of work. GG, well played. PigHunter leaves the game, leaving Pumba victorious. I gotta say, looks like Pumba's staying just briefly to get some satisfaction on getting some hits on that Nexus. I want to say what kept Pumba in this game, or what maybe almost even decided that game, was losing that Warp Prism here in the main base along with his entire army. If you're doing an all-in like that and you're behind in one entire base that early in the game, you better hope that your all-in is going to do some serious damage. And in fact, it did more damage to PigHunter than to Pumba. That put PigHunter way behind. We had a almost fully saturated base on Pumba's side, while PigHunter didn't even have his natural up and running. And that's ultimately what decided the game. So high risk, high reward. Usually, I don't want to say usually, but a lot of the time we do see that the greedy player loses in PvP matchups, but not always. So that was a very cool game to watch. If you like what you saw, go ahead and shoot me a like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. I am trying to cast a wider range of games. I've mentioned it in one of my first casts that I want to cast games from the general ladder, not necessarily just pro games, because I feel like the general ladder doesn't get enough love, and I think it's really cool to see strategies from more casual players rather than always watching the pros. The pros are awesome to watch, but I do like to watch players from all sorts of leagues. Anyway, that's it for me today, and I'll see you guys on the next one.